Oscar.
Carl.
Feels like we've been here before.
Yeah, what is this? Is this are we going down the same house? My name's Oscar.
My name's Carl.
And this is Who Would Watch This? One of the laziest, and yet it's just a remake. That's what we're doing.
It takes a second for you to figure out what the pun is, and thus it's worthy.
Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast. We watch a film, chat about the film, and try and figure out who would watch this.
Today we're talking about Roadhouse 2024 version. Huh?
Yeah, new.
People not excited for the one that's only on Amazon Prime?
That's what I've been saying.
It has a 2.9 on Letterboxd, a 6.4 on IMDb, and a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oscar, what's the plot?
Ex-UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at the Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that his paradise is not all it seems.
Dalton!
Dalton's been absolutely led astray. Carl, should we pop back to last week?
Oh, let's go back in time to before we had seen the movie and tried to predict who we thought would watch it. Oscar, they're making another. They're redoing Roadhouse.
Yes.
No Swayze. We're swapping out Swayze for Jills.
Yes.
We're swapping out
Sam
Elliott for Lucas Gage.
Are you keen for that trade? Do you think
I like Jake Gyllenhaal. Do you like Jake Gyllenhaal?
I do. I hear you, but I feel like if you're a Taylor fan, you don't, huh? I'm in the know. I know my stuff.
It's true.
Okay.
He knew all too well.
He stole
and she lied.
She's got her scarf stolen, and Maggie Gyllenhaal's been holding on to that bad boy.
She has. Maggie Gyllenhaal will not release it, and we will not release this podcast until she adheres to our demands. Give Taylor the scarf back, and Jake acknowledged that the relationship meant as much to you as it did to her.
Roadhouse, the new one. Carl, I absolutely love the last one. Are we excited? Are we thinking it's going to be okay?
For me, I think I was excited for this, and then we watched the original, and then when we were done with the original, we were like, let's chuck on the trailer for the remake, and then we all watched the remake trailer, and then we were all a bit more deflated and less excited.
Yes.
So
I think we just had such an experience of Roadhouse that I just don't know what this modern day one's it can't live up to that, I don't think.
Yeah.
It looks pretty bog standard, which Dalton is not.
Dalton's anything but. Dalton is a character for the ages, a John Wick, if you will, or a Jaws. That's how good he is.
Yes, I guess. You're right. Because I don't know who. Yeah, I'm very scared now. I really hope they can capture the magic. I just don't think this magic has existed for 40 years.
It's true.
You know?
Now, are you, because it's Doug Liman.
Yeah.
And so Doug Liman's not a nobody. Have you seen any Doug Liman movies?
I believe so. What's he done?
So he's done The Edge of Tomorrow.
Love Edge of Tomorrow, yes.
He did American Made, which is quite good with Tom Cruise.
Yes, I've seen the plane scene on TikTok a lot. That scene where there's a guy and there's a guy's fat in the car seat. He's like, I ain't flying with him. And he kisses. Great scene. Haven't seen the rest of the movie.
Yep, nice. Love that for you.
So I guess I'm a big
You're
Lyman
a
head.
big lime head. A
I'm a
lima
lima
bean.
bean.
Crazy. We both picked that. He also did the Firstborn movie. He did The Bourne Identity.
Yes, nice.
He brought in that sort of action style into American cinema. I don't know if that's true. I just sort of rattled that off.
Listen,
and then
we can lie. You forget
he also
that.
did Swingers, which I love, and he also did Go, which is also really good.
He's got a nice little catalog. I kind of confuse him with the guy who does Kick-Ass. I kind of like blur those
Matthew
two.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Vaughn's
He has
hit rate is less.
Yeah, and he has a twisted mind, so it's pretty fucking scary, man.
Imagine if this was advertised as The Twisted Mind from Doug Liman. I'm gonna be like, who the fuck is Doug Liman?
And it's a man who does not sound like he has a mad worldview, you know?
From the director of Chaos Walking, you'd be like, I guess that was twisted.
No, a big Limehead fan. I do love Edge of Tomorrow. I hear that's getting a sequel, which is
true.
odd. Yeah.
Edge of Today.
Oh, clever. I remember it. They should call. What was the other one? They had a weird name. They could like Live, Let Die or something.
Yeah, it was Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Which was the tagline, and then they made that because there was also it's based off the book All You Need Is Kill, and I remember it was called that for a while, and now. In Australia, at least, I think the Blu-ray I own of it is called Edge of Tomorrow: Live, Die, Repeat.
Mine's called Edging Tomorrow, and it's a bit more like risque, but I do love the film. It's very good. He's just like, oh no, not yet.
Yeah. So Tom Cruise is enjoying being in movies where they decide to change the title post the film.
Well, it was maybe part one,
Yeah.
and then no, it was part one.
Yeah.
No, they tricked everybody,
Yeah.
and then at the end, didn't they change it back to part one?
No, now that it's out on DVD and online, they've just removed part one.
Gotcha, crazy. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. But I
Because
mean, it is a part one.
Yeah.
It's like they solve the film in that film.
No, most of the film is just finding a key.
We've fallen away.
We have.
Now, what were we talking? Okay, yeah, Oscar, who would watch the new Roadhouse? Who's it for? Why have they done it?
I'm really hoping. I really hope. We've just lived at Roadhouse very much so. I love the vibe of the first one. I think Dalton's an absolute insane character. The fact that he kind of just walks through life, learns karate, and violence is the answer. I hope.
And renovates businesses.
Yeah, he
saves
gentrifies.
businesses.
He gentrifies them. I would love to see what this world is like in 40 years' time, essentially. The modern day version of this. I am scared it's going to be a bit... It won't capture that magic. I don't know if in the 80s it had the magic. Maybe it's just nostalgia, not nostalgia, almost just looking back on just a bygone era. But I am hoping it captures something. I hope it's wacky. I hope it's fun. If it's not that, what's the point?
I think the movie, I want it to be lean and mean. I have no idea of what its running length is. So I just hope it is.
We can't know. Isn't that crazy? We drops, then we immediately record, then immediately upload. Like we're bing bang bong.
Yeah,
we're
that's
first
right.
to see it.
So I think I really hope it's like I want it to be like fast paced. I want it to be like John Wick action, fight choreography. And I'm excited that they've changed the setting. I'm open and optimistic about it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Connor McGregor of it all?
Of course.
Is this stunt casting?
It must be, right?
Because they've used him a lot, right? In the promo.
Yes,
it
he's
seems.
essentially the villain, like the
Guy that gets his throat ripped out.
Yeah, which is great. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's like acting. I've seen all the press tours. He
doesn't look good in the trailers.
He's coked out of his mind.
But it is weird that they're just like, it's the fight you've been waiting for, Conor McGregor versus Jake Gyllenhaal, and you're there with your arms crossed, just going. Did I ask for this?
I've been having a little side bet. I've been wanting to see that fight. I'm very glad it's coming to terms in a movie. Carl, let's get into Roadhouse, huh? What are first impressions?
So my first impressions were, I hit play.
Yes.
I hit play on the movie. Amazon Prime comes up. It says it's MA. And I go, okay. It says with coarse language and nothing else. And all my hope went out the door. Because that should say MA with violence.
Yes.
And I went, okay, so the violence in this isn't above an M.
Yeah.
Pointless. Why bother attempting to try and remake Roadhouse if you're not going to be violent? If you're not going to include the violence?
This might be cheeky, but like if you're on home demand, does it really matter if there's an R rating? There's no blocking, right?
Like in terms of, are you wondering why they didn't just make it an ultra violent movie?
They know it's getting released on Amazon Prime, so they
Yeah.
know that anyone can just click on it. And like, I know it's like probably like bad, but surely like, well, if a 14-year-old kid wants to watch it, great, cool, go nuts.
But it's weird that it still ended up being MA.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So it's like, okay, well, if you're MA with coarse language, then you might as well have just been
they
MA with violence.
Because I think the whole thing, I don't know how it works in America, but I know blood is like a massive thing. If it's bloody, then you go straight to like R or whatever. But this film does have blood, but just almost the aftermath. In the actual sense of the punching, it is all...
It's not like John Wick, where like there's constant violence as a result of the punches, the knives, and the gunshots.
Yeah.
But there's just sort of blood when people get up.
Yeah.
In this. I just thought it was odd that I was like, so you still went for a higher rating, but not in the reason...
That's the thing. It makes sense. It was like, oh, going to cinema, cool. But it's going to go on, like...
Yeah.
You can just
but it's also
watch
still MA. It's like it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, if the original Roadhouse was R and you've gone MA anyway... At least keep the violence. That was the only reason people gave a shit about Roadhouse. It was so violent.
And so goddamn sexy.
Oh,
It was sexy.
Anyway.
We get a bit of a jump scare. Post Malone is in the
What's
ring.
he doing here? Did you know he was in this?
No, I had no idea.
Startled me completely.
It is a
What
bit-
is that Post?
We're in like, I don't know, like a dogfighting arena, and
Yeah.
Post Malone's just beating the shit out of
He
somebody
is.
to a Post Malone song.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to. I can't explain the opening. I'm open, but it's open. The film's been opened.
I thought they went too far by playing one of his songs. I was like, this is pandering to just him, I guess.
I don't know why.
Did he pay for half the budget?
I don't know what the Like, is this just fun for Post Malone to be in a film?
I guess so. Did you buy him as a boxer? I didn't.
I kind of did.
Yeah?
I kind of did. Maybe that's his tattoos, and because I'm very British, and oh, howdy, he's very rough. He has tattoos of dogs on him.
It's true. You were deeply intimidated
by
him.
I was surprised his back wasn't tattooed. I felt like he'd try to like wrap around. He just never saw it. His back was completely blank.
So, he's keeping that for his first love.
Oh, good. Good for Post Malone, huh?
Good for Post Malone, huh? That's a real tidbit. You can take that to the bank.
We then get introduced to Jake Gyllenhaal, our new Dalton.
Jakey J.
He walks into the arena. Post Malone's like, "Hey, no, I ain't not fighting that man. That's Dalton."
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, fair enough.
Yes.
Once you find out he is a professional MMA fighter that's come to a dog ring, you go, no.
He's killed.
Famous for having killed his best friend in the ring.
Yeah, pretty nuts. Let's talk about the new Dalton, okay? We love Swayze because what does he do? The first day, he does nothing. He avoids fighting in a really cool way. I don't know how you can bottle up this coolness. I was fearful for this movie that Jake Gyllenhaal would try and emulate that. And you just can't.
Yeah, I think he's doing his own thing.
He is
which
doing
I
his own
think
thing.
is good.
I think it is.
It's good that he's not... I think that they have kept his element of passiveness, but they've just gone, this guy, past a breaking point, is a violent man.
Yeah.
And he tries to restrain that as much as possible.
Yes.
He's not living by a code or anything, but clearly knows that his own fists are weapons, and thus doesn't want to use them. So I like that he won by simply walking into a ring and not even fighting anyone.
Yes.
I do wonder how this is fair, though, because Post Malone just won a fight and has to keep fighting?
I did think this too. I think Post Malone's rightfully like, hey, I'm not fighting because he's in tip-top shape and I've taken a half a beating.
I've just fought for 45 minutes. That's how long this fucker took to take down. I'm tired as hell.
Yeah, no, it is pretty...
I'm not
pretty
fresh. This guy's fresh as fuck.
That's
Look
the
at
thing.
him.
Even if you're matched evenly, really the fight would just get lower and lower to your own, like, I don't know, you and me fighting at the end. Like, we're fresh and ready to go.
Yeah. Because it's just, you would sort of just knee someone, wouldn't you? Does it really just keep going into... Because if it's somebody just keeps on fighting the previous fighter for money, right? Until somebody gets all the money? Wouldn't this never end?
It's like an endless soup, you know, you keep adding more broth and various
If a better
tomato.
fighter always enters the ring that's just not tired, there would never be a winner.
No, it's an all-night event. It keeps going. That's how Jake Gyllenhaal makes some money.
I would love it if it turned out this was going as well.
Well, actually, I guess it's finally finished because Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nobody wants to fight him.
Yeah,
right?
so it's the cycle's finally done and we can go home.
So you just
it's honestly, thank God.
Though they don't tell you, but Post Malone's been in the ring 40 hours, 40 straight hours. He's had meals in there. He saw his kids briefly. His wife came in to serve him divorce papers. And he needed that money.
Funny enough, the divorce wasn't about the fighting. She's actually very supportive of that. It's because he's a lousy dad.
Oh,
I'll say it.
Yeah, no, for a fact his character was a lousy dad.
And that's because he has tattoos. I'll say it.
How do we think the movie would have been if that woman actually hired Post Malone?
What do you mean? Oh.
Well, how would the movie have fallen, do we think?
So let's get introduced. We've got our sort of the Roadhouse owner.
Yeah.
Is now a woman who rocks up to Jake Gyllenhaal and offers him a job.
Yeah. Offers him $5,000 a week.
Here's the thing. I guess in the 80s we got offered 500, which sounded like a lot. It's good to know the exchange rates about $5,000. That sounds great.
It's true. So we've now gone from $3,500 to $5,000 a week.
Yeah.
But she's capping it at a month. She's like, no, you've got 30 days to like fix this.
She's seen the first one. She's gone, you could just kind of ring me out. Let's stop that.
She's taken notes. That's how she came up with the idea. It'd be crazy if she was like, hey, I saw the movie Roadhouse and I came up with the idea for me to get a bouncer for my Roadhouse.
The biggest, sadness, I think we're going to compare. It is unfair we have watched the original Roadhouse and loved it so much.
Yeah, and so close to the new one.
Yes, because there's a lot of things I'm not loving about this new one. I think at the start, I wasn't really sure what Jake Gyllenhaal's character was. I'm now seeing he's just he's kind of the modern day idea of cool. Like he's kind of passive, he can beat the shit out of people, but he's just a bit odd.
Yeah.
I kind of like that by like the middle of the film. This start, I'm not vibing it.
Yeah, that's right. You've really got to separate that he is doing his own thing.
Yeah.
I think the movie they've changed enough that the movie feels not Roadhousey.
Yes. I think the biggest change that we both love is that it's set in the Florida Keys.
Yes.
Cool location.
Great location change.
It's all set. It seems like it's all shot pretty much on where it is.
It's probably how they got it made, was them all being like, you guys want a vacation in the Florida Keys? And they were like, yeah, we do.
Conor McGregor was like heard out of earshot, like, yeah, I do. They're like, yeah, fuck it.
They were like, well, you weren't asked, and he was like, I bought a ticket.
I'll just scope around the film, huh? How about that? I gotta tell you, the first hour of this film, pretty dull.
Very dull. I don't know why Jake's not keen on 20K. He sleeps in a car.
Oh, yeah, we probably should talk about that.
He tried to kill himself.
He tries to kill
He's
himself.
He's not having a great day.
Why do we think he's suicidal? Just poor? He's got nothing to
live. Because he killed his best friend.
Gotcha. That's happened recently.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would like to say it maybe happened that day.
He went, oh man, I gotta fight Post Malone. And Post Malone's like, I just heard the news on Twitter. You killed someone hours ago. What the hell?
Post Malone looks over to his agent. The guy's just doing a little cut across the throat, just being like, don't do it.
Jake Gyllenhaal's like, killed this guy as well? Same agent.
Keeps looking up at the crowd as to whether or not he should do a finishing punch on him. Just being like, you guys want
What's
this?
the vibe here? Does everyone want me to see me kill Post Malone in the ring? Post Malone's like, nah, man.
What did we think of chemicals? Was that good? Was that up to par? Yes? No. I can do it.
I can do it.
Or do we want more? Where do we stand? Sunflower? A good feature by him?
No?
Yes? Yeah. No? Bring him back for a third animated Spider-Man movie? What do we...
Billabongs and Bentleys. We were mixed on that, so I'll go for the groin.
How are we feeling? That YouTube video who ate at Olive Garden with Jimmy Fallon? Did we like that?
Just so you know, Carl has a raised fist this whole time. It was high pitched. Otherwise, it's kind of you just like look like you're sort of doing like a little speech to the crowd. But you got Post Malone by the neck, by the cuff of the neck, and you're about to get him right in the face. You're like, no. What's the vibe here? We vibing here?
What's going on?
But you are nailing Jake because and that's why I think Jake thrives is when he's just sort of like a bit of like what's the go, guys? Are we vibing me killing the whole town? It's like yeah I kind of am.
He goes to town. He runs into a bookstore.
Yes,
goes in. He meets. I'll say it. My two least favorite characters of the film.
I think now this is the replacement for Red. Red in the original, I think it's a different because in this one they're like okay. We need to make you care about these characters, the girl and the dad, so that when the evil guys burn the place down, you're going to feel bad and want to kill that. In the original, Red doesn't really get anything. All we get introduced, we actually get like I think that's why the first Roadhouse does so well. It uses Red. The villains go, hey, let's bully Red and show reveals the characters of the villains. And then Red's just like, oh, we feel bad for him because the villains were so comically evil. And it's just so much quicker and it's so much more efficient. And I just think this is boring. Like, what is the point of this other than to get us to care and doesn't really work?
Well, I think the biggest downfall of this movie is obviously because the other one was made in the 80s. And I think the only things that are fleshed out is when they're not fighting. It's essentially a Nicholas Sparks movie.
Yes.
That's just romance and fucking on a lake.
Yeah.
This movie has gone, well, we're not going to do all the romance crap. And for as long a time, so we're just going to try and attempt to get everybody to like these characters.
Yes.
So there's far too much character work done, very self-serious, and there's just not interesting characters.
No.
So they're just very boring sequences, which means when he's just at a bookstore being like, what books do you like? And she's like, my mum runs the bookstore and my dad works over there.
I felt like such like a dipshit, but I was foaming at the mouth and just like somebody kill somebody.
Oh my god,
it was all I want. But I think that's what the film promises you, and it's I don't think they need to bother. But it feels like such like a producer note, like no, you gotta make him care about this character, so then when the bad thing happens, then we care.
And I think that's the issue with this movie is not as self-aware as I thought it was going to be.
Yes,
I think it gets to a point of it.
It does.
But the first half of it really takes itself as a serious film.
Yeah.
Even though its conceit is not, and it probably shouldn't have gone down that path because it bogs down its pacing completely.
Think Jake Gyllenhaal catches up. I mean, again, you probably read the script, but like he catches up a bit earlier than the film does. He goes,
yes.
I know what this is going to be. I'm going to do it a bit more like that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's potentially... Because the other thing as well that I thought was... that I was excited for about the movie is because I like most Doug Liman movies.
Yeah.
is I thought, why would you ever go out of your way to remake Roadhouse, which is not like is just sort of a cult classic, not really a classic.
I don't think and it's not in pop culture that much. I think Family Guy's doing a lot.
Yeah,
of the heavy
Family Guy
lifting.
did a lot of that. So it's like you'd think if they were going to make this, somebody would be entering with like a really specific vision. Being like, hey, I want to remake Roadhouse, and I've got this crazy idea for it that I think is going to modernize it. And that's the only reason you'd remake it. You know, like it's got name recognition and it was a popular movie in the 80s, but I have an idea now that could use that title.
Yes.
And frankly, I don't think the movie ends up having a hook.
No. I mean, it's fun seeing Jake and Connor fight, and I like the sort of action scenes. I just think the film doesn't even do that, though, for the first hour.
No.
So you're kind of just left like, well, why, guys? Why? Like, the film's kind of figuring out what, like, it's doing the beats of Roadhouse, but the beats of Roadhouse are boring.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
The first Roadhouse also, in my opinion, has the same issue of pacing. It's just that when there is fights, it's so old school and over-the-top violent. It's just enough that they do that every 15 minutes that you forgive that there's poor pacing. And the movie's essentially the same thing over and over and over and over again until the last 30 minutes.
Him just going to a bar, watching as people get fighting, and then sort of slowly pissing off the big villain.
Yeah, and then he beats everybody, and then the next day he just has a lovely day with his girlfriend, and then the same thing happens the next night.
Yeah.
And that just keeps happening for an hour and 10 minutes in the original, and it sort of just works.
Yeah, it does work.
So I think when you make the comparison, because the thing about Red is you just knew Red was the most beautiful human being to have ever been in a town.
Yes.
It's crazy. Red maybe had 4 minutes of screen time in the original movie, and I would tell you he's maybe top 10 best film character ever.
I think so, but like I think that's the pro of the last one. Like, it's crazy how much character they can pump into. I guess maybe good casting, but just showing the villain you've given me a face. It is right. You're right. But but the villain's been so comically evil to him. It just feels like why wouldn't the villains? I feel like it makes the villains also a much more like evil presence early on in the film. The villains aren't really here for a good 40, 50 minutes, and even then there's like 7 tiers to the villains.
Oh, there's so many.
And then there's a weird man over there that we'll get to an hour in. But hey, at the moment the villains are pretty weird tier.
Yeah. So Jake goes into town. He sets up shop. He's had his first night there. Things go pretty well. He breaks some arms. He has a little slap fight. He decides he's going to stay in a boathouse.
Yes.
There is a crocodile outside. An alligator. My mistake. There was an alligator outside, and they set this up. And there's even a monologue about how the alligator ate a dog later in the movie. That you'd think this alligator was really going to come back into it.
It's kind of like Chekhov's crocodile, but only twice, and then I guess just.
And that was enough.
Yeah.
They just couldn't figure out a way to get back there. And they were like,
But they were back there. Is the boathouse right next to the roadhouse?
I have no idea.
Boathouse,
I couldn't tell
roadhouse. Yeah, the same thing. Boathouse, roadhouse. Yeah, good stuff.
They should do a little bar on the boat.
They should.
So you can have a little roadhouse and you can have a little boathouse.
Oh, good stuff.
I know how to gentrify this. I also understand why the manager's trying to save this place, because the property looks stunning.
She's got massive plans that, quite frankly, don't involve a bar. She's like, listen, this could be an overpriced wedding venue. And that's where Jake Gyllenhaal should have come in and gone, let's figure this out. What's that movie where he's an art maker? That didn't get very
Velvet Buzz.
That didn't get very good reviews, but I feel like that could be this film. I do like Jake Gyllenhaal's character. It's very... It's kind of what's that film? Jake Gyllenhaal's kind of doing a bit of like Nightcrawler, but if Nightcrawler could kill. And
Nightcrawler does kill.
No, but like could beat up some people. You know, Nightcrawler kind of watches.
I guess he's very thin and weak.
Exactly.
And frail in that movie.
I think Nightcrawler
strong-minded though.
Strong-minded. I think he'd be cooler if he could beat up people.
That's
I think
right.
it'd be a different film.
I guess you could say he's the other performance probably has a lot less dialogue in it, but he's doing bits of drive. He's doing a little bit of stoicness. Drive.
Yes, stoicness, but then I think that where it's fun is that he's a bit cheeky with it.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a bit like, ooh,
yeah.
you know, ooh.
I'm going to take you to the hospital. Where's the nearest hospital? Like, it's fun. That's where it's great.
Yeah.
I think that's where, like, oh, cool, you've captured a very fun character, and it's a shame it's not just more of that. I just don't know why they even bother.
It feels, because I do enjoy Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie, I think they could have utilized him even more. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's bringing as much as he can, and then he needs director and writing to really meet him up on the level he's possible.
Just ham it up. There's just so many scenes at the start where it's so... And you've got so much, like, fun, like, elements that you could really work. Like, the villain, we'll get introduced to him, but he's building, like, a big... He wants to knock down the roadhouse and make a big casino. That's so much fun.
He's just essentially Mr. Burns. We can talk about the villain right now.
Yeah.
Our introduction to him is on a boat, and he's getting his face shaved in choppy waters.
Yeah.
And just, he's getting very annoyed about it.
And he's berating the, like, the shaver.
Yeah.
Really fun scene. I just feel like, again, they don't do enough with him as well either.
You get these moments of energy. I think Connor McGregor, Billy Magnuson, and Jake Gyllenhaal try and bring in some energy into the movie early on.
Yes.
I think it comes together when they're all finally together at the end. But, oh my god, it's like a slog to get there. I don't even know why you've got this whole other cast. I don't think they get anything to do.
The goons?
I don't think the goons get anything to do. I don't think Lucas Gage gets anything to do.
I mean, we chat about Lucas Gage. We kind of thought...
I thought Lucas Gage was going to be in this a lot more.
I do think so. I thought he was Is he not the Sam Elliott character?
I thought for sure Lucas Gage was going to get killed.
Yeah.
And he'd be like an apprentice, and he'd get up to a point and then he'd get killed.
Yes.
So I don't know if test audiences just fell in love with Lucas Gage.
How big is Lucas Gage? I feel like I'm very
Maybe we think he's really big.
Yeah.
Because I like Lucas Gage.
Yeah.
But maybe people don't know who
I'm
Lucas
not very
Gage is.
aware. I feel like my partner's was like, hey, he just got divorced, you know? It's been 3... I feel
He's been he had a 6-month marriage to Christopher Appleton or something.
Yeah.
Apple Christopherton.
Yes. Apple Debop. Apple Diap. Apple bottom jeans with the boots with a fur.
Yes. This one did hit the floor.
Huge. Damn.
Yeah.
Huge.
Anyway, I feel like I'm hyper aware of who Lucas Gage is.
Yes.
So he had a character poster and I was like, oh, well, he'll be in this a lot.
Yeah, but he's not.
No.
I think the middle of the film, which I just don't even know what the point is, really. I guess in Roadhouse, they do just bum about a bit.
Oh, they bum about a lot in the original
But
one.
I vibe that. This one, there's
at one stage of the original one, they just have an all-nighter and then just chill at a diner for a bit.
And we get to learn, we get just them dancing, which does sound bad, but goddamn, Sam Elliott and Dalton looking on. Oh, it's good stuff.
It's great. Who wouldn't love it?
Another element that I wish they entwined was that in the original, the bouncers had like a bouncer network, and I really wish it became like a weird like Yammer group or like a social media thing. I wish it'd be like a LinkedIn, everyone's chatting.
No, so I think you're misinterpreting. I reckon this movie's an origin story. So I think...
You think this is him starting...
This is him starting out, so the Dalton we were to, like, meet is, like, 5 roadhouses later.
Oh my god,
you know? Like, because it's like he finally did it.
He's 5 Nanny McPhee's in.
Well, it's like he's just had his first go at roadhousing, right?
Yeah.
And now he's done, and it went okay.
Yeah.
But I reckon the person that owns this roadhouse could call up somebody else and be like, oh, I had a great guy come in, Dalton.
That's actually, you hit it bang on the head. Because he did make some mistakes. He didn't get the girl at the end.
Yeah.
It's crazy he would go town to town finding a sleazeball who's trying to knock down the local
same,
roadhouse.
Same thing to keep happening, different settings.
Yeah.
And here's what sucked about the original one with Swayze. No sequels.
No.
If this movie had 40 sequels and they were all as good as this movie that I thought was meh, I'd watch them all. I'd watch every single fucking one of them. I wouldn't even think. I would go date. I'd take the time off the work. And I would watch Roadhouse 4, Alaska.
Let's just go real quickly. The villains are trying to beat up Jake Gyllenhaal. He keeps pretty easily whacking off the goons. He's whacking them.
He's just whacking them. I'd be so embarrassed.
I mean, here's the thing. I think in another film you'd be like, oh, the stakes are low because he just is so easily destroying the goons. But that's the vibe I think I want for this. I want the goons to keep being like, they keep going to the boss going, boss, shucks, he got us again. And the boss is like, are you shitting me? It's one guy. And like, he's really good at punching.
He's a really good bouncer.
He took us to the hospital. He's the best bouncer.
He's really good.
And we're just some little guys. God.
We're biking gang.
Yeah.
We just like to party.
That's a good vibe. I like it. Anyway,
okay, well, let's talk about this. This is very convoluted, right? So Billy Magnuson is teamed up as a partner with the head of the police in the town.
Who's called Mr. Bigcock.
Who's called Mr. Bigcock. The two of them are the ones that are trying to get the casino brought in.
Yes.
Right? Now, on top of that, Billy has all of his money because his dad's in jail, and his dad has set up all these dominoes, essentially, to fall, and none of it's going right, so Billy's now in debt to some bad people because he's trying to fucking get this roadhouse gone so they can build their property. And so the dad goes behind Billy's back and hires Connor McGregor. And so it's very convoluted that simply Billy just didn't hire Connor McGregor.
Yes.
I don't know why we've got so much fodder.
It is a lot of fodder. I feel like they've got this beautiful, simple... It should just be him being like, I want that roadhouse gone. I know a guy, Connor McGregor. It's just, I don't know why they've gone around this confusing... I don't get the sheriff. I know in the last one it does make sense.
He's got a big cock.
It's huge. It's just fucking massive.
Have you ever tried being a sheriff and not having a big cock?
But like, here's the thing: in the original one, it's more like the cops are dirty because the whole
they're
town
filthy.
They're
little
just
cops.
killing people,
They
and it's
are.
like that's small town. Whereas this is the Florida Keys, so it's like the cops aren't doing that much dirty stuff. It's kind of stealing money.
Yeah, this movie did get me the most excited for GTA.
Oh,
I'm
my
so
God.
excited for
So
Florida
hyped.
GTA.
GTA, what's it called? Conor McGregor climbs a bridge and then just stops the car like on that massive Florida Keys
It's
highway.
so GTA.
Oh, I'm so goddamn keen. It comes out soonish. Oh, my
No,
God.
it doesn't.
Soonish. I mean,
Isn't
it's
it
been,
2026?
was it not 5?
I don't
thought
think
it,
so.
I thought it was 5.
I think it's 2026. It's
nuts.
Christmas 2026.
Christmas 2026.
Yeah, which means you know it's delayed to Christmas 2027.
And you know why you're delaying it? Put it 2030, man.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're never getting it. Other than the Made It Man, I think that's just the trailer, man. This is a fucking trailer.
They're releasing the trailer in 2026.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
They're
I
like,
cannot-
guys, the official trailer comes out end of 2026. Yeah, so we meet Conor McGregor.
Yes.
He's naked as hell.
He's just fucked a girl in Spain? Where are we?
Cuba.
Cuba. Oh, Cuba makes so much more sense. It's
Yeah.
close. It's close. Miami.
That's why they're having Cuban coffee.
That's
Coffee.
clever.
We can talk about it for a while.
Yes.
I did not expect Conor McGregor to have such a great little ass.
Yes. Yes.
He's got an incredible butt.
And I think the movie, and this is when the movie just knows, it's finally in swing. When he rocks up, they go, right, we're going to do a long tracking shot of his ass.
Do you think the director accidentally caught him naked and just went, people need to know? Because that butt is like...
I feel like Eminem, you see the butts because you have to do the weigh-in. So
Yeah.
people must be aware that Connor has a good butt.
He has an incredible butt.
Yeah.
It's so perky.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very well maintained. It's hairless. And on top of that, it's just like
That's for the drag. In MMA, you don't want to have hair blowing your back, you know, man. If you want to go for a punch, there's a lot of hair at the back. That weighs you down.
I'd never do well. I'm a hairy butt man. But yeah, I could talk on and on about it. I just thought it shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think Connor is doing a bad performance, but I'm happy for it. I think that's what the film needs. It needs a bit of silliness, and this is what Connor brings. I feel like his performance is mixed, getting mixed reviews. I'm vibing it because I think that's what the film should be.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Connor's not a great actor, but his enthusiasm for being there is rubbing off.
Oh, I think
he
so.
seems so excited
he's
to
got
be
a
in a
cheesy
movie.
grin. He hasn't blinked. That could be the coke, but it also seems like he's keen to be there. And every scene, he just sort of is like, "How are we doing?" He does this fun little walk with he's already got his fists up. It's just a good vibe.
But this is how The Rock started, John Cena started, Dave Bautista started. They all started out not being good in their little first outings. Out of those three, which one's Connor going to fall?
Oh, I think down the Denis Villeneuve route. I think
You reckon he's auteur?
Denis going to be like, here's some tiny little glasses, and you're going to be fantastic.
You are going to say such poignant things at the beginning of a film.
It's funny, Dave Bautista has jumped on to Denis. I didn't realize he was in Blade Runner and in Dune.
Yeah, he's
Good
in
for him.
both Dunes. He's
I would
paired up
love
with
to see.
Ryan Johnson.
I would love to see Connor and Tom Cruise together. I just don't think I don't know what they'd talk about.
Oh, put Connor in the new Mission Impossible. Put him in that one.
He could
Doug
be the
Liman's
AI.
making in space. Yeah. Imagine if they were to reveal at the end of Mission
me,
Impossible
Conor
Part 2,
McGregor.
It's me, Conor. This is the other thing that startled me. Is this what Conor McGregor sounds like?
Yes. I think you just have not been.
I've never heard him speak before.
He's comically Irish.
It's so comically, to the point that I thought maybe he was doing whatever the equivalent is of a black accent.
An Irish axe.
An Irish axe.
An Irish axe.
An Irish axe.
A Shasha Rownan.
Yeah, it sounds like he's pulling a Saoirse.
I just love saying Shasha Rownan.
Saoirse Ronan is
I can say it
so
because
deeply
I can
Irish.
say that because I am Irish. I actually think if you're saying it's a bit offensive, you know.
Listeners never seen me, so who are they to know what I look like?
In fairness, they take one look at you and go, oh, big Irish vibes over there.
I'm more akin to a Michael Jordan in appearance than you may realize. That's
Michael
right.
Jordan?
Yep.
Yep, you want to commit to that?
Oh, so Michael B. Jordan. Did that help?
He is famously very Irish. I'm glad you've saved yourself there. It's good. It's good.
I have. Creed was Irish. This little group of goons.
Yes.
And they've got a little comedic relief guy.
I was enjoying him. I think because at the start of the movie, there really hadn't been much humor. I didn't know where they were going with it. I thought it was a bit cheeky that there's like not a cowardly goon, but just sort of one's like, I'm just here for the bikes, man.
Yeah, he just
I'm
likes
here
being
for
a
the
bike
bikes.
rider.
I do like him. I wish they did a bit more. I think the whole rest of the film, I'm just like, I wish you guys did more.
Now,
go on.
I'm sorry. They do try and kill Jake.
Yes.
They try and run him down with their car.
Yes.
This scene came out of nowhere. It was very chaotic. He gets hit by a car, but into the back of a car, so he's okay.
It feels like one of those. It's just like they've got like a graph, just like, all right, nothing's happened.
Yeah.
You guys need to sort of do something. They've got this technique for all the punching and fighting. It's like the sort of, I think, a mix of the camera whips and also a bit of combined with CGI.
It's sort of like if something goes past the camera, it's stitched in, but to a different angle, so that it's almost like stuff happening in front of the camera is a match cut, but to a different perspective.
Yeah,
it
looks it's a fun technique. I don't know if I love it, but I like they're committed to it.
I like it sometimes.
Yes.
I think sometimes it looks too CG'd stitched together, and then it takes you out.
I think this car scene, I wish they didn't do it for this, because this just feels very weird.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of it, they kind of got that effect of like, you're in the middle of a fight, and it kind of feels that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like they went for it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. I think that they did come in going, because it doesn't feel like it is John Wick or something, I guess, and I think John Wick fighters, because I think that production company and their choreographers have gotten so big, a lot of action sequences are just like John Wick now.
Yeah.
So they've sort of lost being special. So I do appreciate a director coming in and just doing, it's a different look and feel to what a lot of Hollywood's making now.
Yes.
But I still thought it wasn't done to like its best that it could be. But there's a vision behind it. It
There
doesn't
is.
feel lazy.
It's something,
Yeah,
right?
something.
And it's a good idea of like, hey, we've actually got two. And yes, you were saying Jake Gyllenhaal trained to be an MMA fighter for what was it, Southpaw? Yeah, and Conor McGregor also. So like you got great guys who know how to fight. Let's put a camera literally in between them and just see how it looks.
Yeah, I think when it's the two of them fighting, it does feel like it's the best.
Yes.
You know, because I think they've both got, I'm sure there's some safety on set to make sure that there are stunt people in there and things, but it feels like it's them better than it does some of the other times when he's fighting the actors, I guess.
Yeah.
But this scene of him getting hit by the car and falling off steamrolls into the crocodile scene.
Yes.
Let's talk about the crocodile.
Let's talk about the crocodile. The main goon at this point, who's actually been the villain, I guess, because we've barely seen, what was it, Ben Brandt? Ben Brandt. That's the villain's name.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, there you
go. He gets on a boat. He smashes him up. It's the first kind of fight scene we've seen in a while. Jake throws him out the window, eaten by a croc.
Yeah. We were told about it.
Yeah.
So we should have seen this coming.
We got told about it moments ago.
I wish it was more. I think these are the sort of scenes where it feels like I wish this was more violent. I think that the movie, it almost feels like it's like when they introduced Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And he like punches someone and it goes to black and it comes back and there's all this chaos. And I'm like, it feels like we should have seen that chaos so we could fear him.
But it's like I think because you know the context of Conor McGregor, like, oh, he's gonna be a good fighter. But yeah, because it's not like this. There's not like in this they kind of shy away from it. I think they just like, let's crescendo it at the end. So maybe it's just like not to get like overexposed to it. But I think that's the whole
I
point
would
of
rather
it.
have been overstimulated. Like
100%. I think that's what Roadhouse
because
promises.
I think the ending is very fun and action packed, but what holds it back is it does because it's 2 hours. It does almost feel too little, too late.
Yeah,
I think that's
so.
the thing the movie has to overcome.
Yeah,
as much as I enjoy the last 30 minutes, yeah, it ends on a high, but it's too late.
But there's good chunks of 12 minutes of just sort of let's just find out about the bar owner, let's talk about this bookstore. It's like this alligator scene where like an hour and it's like, ugh, I'm done, I'm bored, you know. So it's a shame.
I think the movie gets a lot better once Connor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal meet for the first time.
Yes, I think so. It's a shame because it's like only 50 minutes to go. It's such a waste of, I don't know, this character. I don't know if it's like scheduling or something. But anyway, Ben, the big villain, rocks up to the Roadhouse and he's like, Jake Gyllenhaal, hey, here's a video of when you killed that guy, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty
Isn't it
crazy.
crazy you killed him.
Yeah.
He's like, I scrubbed the internet for this, found it, let's watch it together.
Yeah.
It freaks Jakey out immediately. Connor comes in, he starts smashing up the place. I do enjoy because a big bar fight breaks out, and Jake seems annoyed to have to help.
Yes.
He's like drinking his coffee, he's like, fucking hell.
But that's good. That's exactly what you want. He's like, he's too good for it. It's like, it's really waking up the film. It has been an hour, but it's a shame.
Yeah.
This is great fun. Good fight scenes. I'm in.
It does. It helps that this is also the first time Jake's lost.
Yes.
So, you know, we've had him being on top for so long. It's great to finally have him lose. So, it is funny, though, that as soon as he loses, he's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm
he
out.
Post Malone's. He's like, I'm done. Oh, God.
Imagine if another actor got introduced now. It would be great if Post Malone came back.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, let me call up Post.
Is he tired? Good. I'll fight him now because I've well rested. I've had a week. I've sorted it out. I can happily. He's down? Great. I'll beat him. And I'll take back the money.
Because even Jake Gyllenhaal's just like, yeah, should have got Post Malone as he's leaving. And she's like, God, I wish I got Post. Post wouldn't have given up. It's
Malone and McGregor. It could be a bar, actually, honestly. Oh, I'd drink it.
Imagine how ripped off you'd feel if the final fight was Post Malone versus Conor McGregor.
I think that'd be a better film. I'd be like, you know what?
I think Post would be killed so quickly. Mere minutes. I reckon he wouldn't have even gotten off the boat. He would have just drowned at the bottom. Wouldn't have got the girl out. He would have really failed quickly.
Dalton leaves. He's going to leave. They burn down the bookstore. Whatever. It's sort of, I guess...
I cried when they burned down Red's bookstore. That was his livelihood.
We all joined in. Went, Red, no,
Red.
This one, I just like. It's like the only thing I did like was it.
I'm gonna say right now, I hoped they were killed. It
Yes.
was sad when I found out they were both just hospitalized, and I went,
nuts.
wish they were killed in cold blood.
I wish they were murdered and just burnt to ash.
I wish he was avenging them rather than just helping them.
Yeah, I think I do like his motivation of, although he's avenging them, he did just miss the bus. So he's like, well, I'm here for another 24 hours. I guess I'll kill.
I like to think that bus is every 10 minutes. So he's like, I've got 10 minutes to solve the problem. And the movie just did a speed run to get him out of town. I do enjoy that it is this because he leaves being like, yeah, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But then it sort of turns around. He's like, no, I'm afraid of what I become when I'm pushed too far. And we finally get, I think it's, the movie does do something cool later, but I think it's their PG-13 version of the throat rip.
Yeah.
Is this throat punch that like collapses his breathing.
Yes.
And he drowns in a pool. It is funny that he knows all the medical shit behind it, I guess.
At a certain point, Jake Gyllenhaal's almost like the good doctor, but if he could kill.
If he couldn't help.
Yeah. He did not sign his oath, and he's killing. And dare I say, the good doctor is killing. I've not seen...
The good doctor's killed.
Freddie Highmore could be a Dexter, for all we know. I wouldn't mind if there was a spin-off where he's been killing the patients.
Well, look, Freddie Highmore was in Bates Motel, and he was in The Good Doctor. I think let's cross them both over for a little duality to performance. Boom, that's Dexter.
That's an Oscar.
That's an Oscar right there.
Yeah,
You're
it's
welcome.
a movie. That's right. It's 90 minutes.
That's the first time
all we could write.
a TV show's ever been nominated for an Oscar. It was that good.
I like this. He's just a bit odd. And I do like they're like, well, that's the hottest a man can be right now. Just a bit of a freak.
They love him being odd.
Yeah.
Because, it's not like Austin Butler's a normal person. Everyone's in love with him at the moment.
What's that? He's kept his weird Elvis accent? God, he's hot. Get out of the way, Timmy.
What do you
Where's
mean
your freaky little thing, huh?
What do you mean he pulled on a bald cap? It's made him hotter.
Jake goes in a mad rage, a blind rage.
Goes on a blind rage.
I do like they kept the theme for the last one. Just, hey, violence solves a lot of issues.
It's true. They do keep the American way.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck yes.
It's crazy in 40 years' time. They're like, you know what? It's tried and tested. It works.
If there's one moral about the original Roadhouse that has not that hasn't aged, it's moral that violence solves everything. And thus that has to stay.
And it does. It does do pretty well.
It would have been crazy if the climax was just a good dialogue between the two.
Hey, why don't we sit down and discuss this, huh? Let's figure this out. Now, I love this. He goes in a blind rage. He's just going, I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
He goes out to their beautiful boat.
Yeah.
I do like that when he comes up to the boat, he doesn't care about stopping.
No,
he just wants to dent it a bit.
I think I do love the vibe that it's the villains really completely outmatched. Dalton is just that much better. It's a fun dynamic for a film I haven't really seen before, but they're really just like, oh, well, he's gonna kill us.
He is.
And then you've also got Connor McGregor, who is also kind of like his like foe. However, he's so out of it that the villain doesn't even want to deal with him.
It's true. There's at one stage the villain turns around and is like, Connor McGregor's back. And it's like, you guys are on the same team, essentially. It's weird you don't like him.
But it's good. I like that.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that they're like,
fuck, the weirdo's back. I've got a lot of weird people. It's weird you guys just can't shoot him. Just shoot him.
I do, yeah. The villain's very much like, it's so annoying, it's such a mess. Why couldn't it be simple? Why didn't he just buy her out of the Roadhouse?
I don't know.
It seems like he's got so much money.
Again, she was like, listen, I can't tell you how much I can make selling this to like normies trying to have a wedding here. They'll pay fucking tits for this place.
She's like, I owned 40 tiny houses back in in
the tiny 2015, I was tiny house god, and now I'm Roadhouse, the new thing, okay? She's crazy on Instagram.
Roadhouse is the new tiny house. Wait till I get a load of Boathouse.
Oh my god, it's be huge. Now, there should be way easier ways. I do like they're like, we're going to knock down the Roadhouse to build a casino. It's fun and evil. But we're now, I think at the finally a fun part of the movie. We're in the Keys, the Florida Keys, bunch of boats. Jake pretty much blows them up. He Aussie Mandy's them, brings like a big machine gun, blows the boat. It's great fun. Starts punching people when they're on fire, which is weird. That feels like an R-rating thing.
Yeah, he does. It is fun that he's knocked out and he's still punching people. Somebody walks in horribly burnt and screaming and he punches him too. This is where you're sort of like, okay, the level's getting a little bit more comedic, a little bit more fun, a little bit more outlandish.
Yes.
And you keep going with it because from this point on, it keeps upping itself.
It does.
They sort of duel with speedboats at one another.
Yeah, they joust.
Yeah, and then the villain's like, fuck it. Billy Magnuson's like, I'm just going to crash a boat into the Roadhouse. There.
Yes.
If I just total it enough, maybe she won't fix it this time.
It is... Yeah, so then Conor McGregor's also like flying around there. It's fun action. It's what the film should be the whole time.
It should have been like this for just 90 straight minutes.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall. So we now have the big fight.
Yes.
In the Roadhouse. I do appreciate as well that they've just assumed people were like us being like, hey, is the original one in a roadhouse? Or what's a roadhouse? Or is it called a roadhouse? I think when we watched it with our friends, they were confused that the place wasn't called Roadhouse.
I was under because the establishment, it's like, oh, that's a motel, that's a roadhouse, which is like a bar on the side of the road.
Yeah,
but we did think the bar would be called Roadhouse. But
so they were like, in this movie, we're going to give the audience exactly what they want. The place is called Roadhouse 2.
I do like that was the only thing at the start of the film was keeping me going. Everyone's like, it's called Roadhouse. And Jake Gyllenhaal's like, no, what's the Roadhouse called? Like, no, the place is called Roadhouse. He's like, that's very odd. And they're like, no, that's just the name of it. That's fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So they have their big fight. I like how violent it gets.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Conor McGregor's death here. I think it's sick.
It is sick. We'll set it up. So, Jake Gyllenhaal, they're fighting, bang, 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 bang. Connor stabs him in the stab wound he got at the start of the film. What, a week ago?
Yeah.
So he's been stabbed. He's about to be down for the count, but no. Grabs the stabbed thing he's been stabbed with, stabs him again. Then he gets another thing, stabs Connor again. He keeps stabbing him with the thing.
Yeah, he keeps interchanging where the stabs are until he just does like bow through the top shoulders into the neck.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Great.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I wish this is the level of violence I wanted all of the scenes to have.
Yes.
Because
And I think if he's got that sort of Mr. Rogers vibe of just, it's very nice, I really don't want to do this, but I will just, like, fucking destroy you, would have been great.
he's like, I will murder.
Yeah.
You know I will murder.
Yeah.
There's YouTube evidence of it.
I've been hired by that's my job. I don't want to do it, but I could kill.
Yeah.
You know? It's like One Punch Man, I guess. Is that sort of that vibe?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It's interesting that I think they thought it was a step too far if the townspeople all teamed up and murdered the villain. Interesting they took that away. They were like, no, we shouldn't have...
Do not rise up. Do not rise up.
Do not rise up in Florida Keys.
Sometimes making a casino is good for business, okay? Please... We've got a development going. I mean, Amazon now, it's crazy they own MGM. It's quite like a monopoly. The start was quite odd. But yeah, no, do not do an uprising. I swear to God.
They can't afford it.
They can't afford it.
They absolutely can't
Those
afford
kind of casino heads really don't need this. Huh?
True.
It's been a
People
tough
forget
financial
this.
year.
We're pro big casino.
Yeah, this podcast, although not funded by it, hopefully will be funded by it.
Just know that while we've been talking, we've been slapping the pokies the entire time.
Oh yeah, no. When we say funded by casinos, we're gambling.
We're
addicts.
just gambling a lot.
And we're just big fans.
I haven't taken my eyes off the horse racing on my phone since the inception of the podcast.
I bet on the odds of us finishing this podcast, and guess what? The odds were low.
You owe me a lot of money. I'm gonna beam request you
You're
now.
the bookie, and you're gambling my wins.
I'm also the loan shark too. I'm everything. I've got a monopoly. Movie ends.
Movie ends. We didn't really touch on it, but for the whole film, similar to the last one, they're like, hey, Jake Gyllenhaal's trying to bone a nurse, but he's a bit too weird and doesn't really want to do it, and the film goes, you know what? She'd probably be a bit weirded out by this, so it's done.
Yeah, she walks in on the murder at the end and is like, I've had enough of you.
Yeah. In the original Roadhouse, they're like, let's go for a dip in the pool.
She's like, okay, this is pretty hot. Let's keep going. And you're like, okay, that's the difference between the 80s and now.
They're like, I just don't think that's the
Yeah,
good vibe.
I just don't think
You
a woman
should-
would be all about it.
You should leave Jake Gyllenhaal. And he's like, I will. I've learned my lesson. At the next maybe 3 times, I will not murder them in front of the one I'm trying to bone.
We did forget about the lovely little place they have a little, like, umbrella beers. They set up their 2 chairs under an umbrella in, like,
Yes.
shallow waters. I'd go do that.
This is stunning, right?
It's so
pretty.
pretty.
When they sort of teed it up, I'm like, a date. Don't. But oh my god, this is absolutely. It's like the massive ocean. You're in the middle of nowhere chairs. It's like, you know, in Interstellar when they're on that nice water planet. It's sad because of time, but if they could. But ironically, I wish they could have spent more time there because it's just
True.
lovely. Carl, who would watch Roadhouse 2024?
Oh.
Have we sullied ourselves? I think the first question is, have we sullied ourselves with the first Roadhouse? And is the
No.
first Roadhouse that good?
I don't think the first Roadhouse is that good, but it's that white-knuckled by the end of it and violent. I think it pushes it over the edge and you can have a good time. I think this movie almost does it. I just don't think it's consistent enough in the lead up to it and doesn't... Therefore, it just doesn't get the pass. I'm not going to give the movie the pass. I think it's too little too late, as much as I enjoy the ending. I think this movie probably has more in common with like a Atomic Blonde or a Bullet Train or just one of those not very memorable action movies, but competent enough.
Oh, it's digestible. You sort of go, that was... I
Yeah.
remember walking out of Bullet Train going, that was alright. And then a day passes, I go, I've forgotten a lot of Bullet
It's
Train.
probably more disposable than I think it should be.
Yeah.
And I think it's because these movies I always think are going to be more fun than I think they wanted to make, but they've advertised it to me as a fun time.
Yes.
And then it's just sort of ended up being like, no, you guys are taking yourself pretty seriously. Just because you got some quips and some jokes and an interesting protagonist in there doesn't mean this is a fun ride.
That is a shame, because there are the elements of it, but they never really commit to it. Because I think there is that holding back of like, well, we still need to do the rules. There's a lot of rules. And I feel like Roadhouse, the enjoyment you get is because they're breaking a lot of rules. They didn't know that they were rules, and it's enjoyable 40 years later on. Whereas this, I don't think would be very enjoyable to anybody like in 10 years time, really.
Yeah, so that's why I'll throw out. I think this is, who would watch this? I think this is like a streaming night in, Friday night disposable film. I think that's exactly who the audience is for, and I think potentially it will satisfy. Wouldn't surprise me if this was a big hit.
Oh, I think so. I think it will. I think it's fun. I think like we had to take notes. I think if you really and the ending does climax, we had a good time. I think if we stopped at the first hour, like I'm done, I'm bored.
Yeah.
But the ending gives you enough that I think you'd walk away and go, that was alright. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends with like a 6.3 on IMDb and like a 54 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
You know, everyone kind of went, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I think they go, oh, you know, that they got exactly what it was. It's like, no, but I think it could have been a lot more. I think it was held back a lot, which is a shame.
So who do you think it's for?
I think kids of all ages, huh? Because it's not MA, so it's absolutely fine. Those punches, no
It
blood.
is MA. It's just with coarse language. That's what's annoying.
I'm talking if you've got a kid with a big set of headphones, they can't hear anything, this is an absolute fine for them to watch. With your parental... can you watch it with a parent? Is that what that rating is?
Yes. M as if you're the age of PG, but if you've got... 15 plus.
So it is 15 plus. You need an adult to be with you to explain what's going on, as in, like, that's not real, man.
Yeah,
is that what
think
M
it's.
is?
I think it's more.
I know MA's, you have to be 15 and up.
Yes, that's right.
Is M just like the vibe is like, ugh, probably not, but go nuts?
I think it's like, because it's the Marvel movies are M, so I think it's more just like, hey, this is totally fine for a 9-year-old to consume, but there's probably some stuff in it that would upset them. So it's how much you know your child to allow them to watch this M-rated movie.
Gotcha. Okay, then I change it. An unaccompanied child to go watch this.
I wonder if it is one of those things. I wonder what the movie is now. I just remember it being at a very young age and watching stuff like Die Hard and Ghost Dog and
What's Ghost Dog?
it's like a Forrest Whitaker modern samurai movie.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. It's the guy that made Patterson.
Yeah, nice. Is it Kick-Ass? You throwing Kick-Ass?
No,
now?
yeah, Kick-Ass is one that I watched like in cinema. I know those ones where I'm like, oh, it just feels so cool to have watched a movie so violent and just fast-paced and fun.
Are the John Wick's not that though? Is that not what that
Maybe
is?
that is the one for the. I would be curious to know as to what like an 11-year-old is watching that they're like, I probably shouldn't have watched that at that age, but that's really shaped me and my enjoyment of action movies.
Well, I don't really get, because I know like on Netflix and stuff, they've got like, I don't know, the kids section. But other than that, you can watch anything else on Netflix.
Yeah.
So are kids just watching, is there any thrill? Like I feel like it's such a, I mean, I'm sure kids are still going to the movies and everything like that, but you can just watch an R-rated film
Well,
pretty
do you
easily.
think if you were a parent, would you use the lock or not?
I don't know does the lock do just kid, or is it like you can switch to M and stuff like that?
So you can pick it to what you want and then give the kid the account.
Gotcha.
So if you've got 4 accounts, 4 of them might be locked, but the kids one could be always open. And you might have just set that to PG, and they wouldn't know the passcode for the other ones.
Okay. So there are options. But
Yeah, I think it's about how restrained you want to be with your kid.
Yes, got you. So there are tiers. So you can be like, oh, just no R films, but MA is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pretty crazy to do that, but you know, okay, cool.
They'll be like, you can watch Sex and the City 2, but we don't want you watching Antichrist.
You can watch Sex and the City. You can't watch it the TV show, but you can watch the movies, because the movies are M, shows MA.
I thought the second one's MA with sex scenes.
You've
got the DVD.
I've got the DVD. I believe it's blue.
You've got the DVD.
It's that gorgeous blue.
Should we do a fact check?
It's a nice color, isn't it?
I'm gonna get it. Let's you stall. I'll do a fact check.
All right, hit me.
This is huge.
Carl's gonna be editing this whole sequence. Be interested if he keeps us in. If you're still there, thanks for listening, guys. You're back. Okay, well, I was just very heartfelt, but you've committed to getting the DVD. What is it? Oh shit, it's
Big
MA.
reveal.
Wow,
MA, strong
okay.
sex scenes.
Well, apologies to all the kids out there who wanted to watch the sequel to Sex and the City, the movie, but you're not allowed to. You've been locked.
And speaking of keeping people accountable, you need to keep Scott Mance accountable from Access Hollywood for saying sex is even better the second time round. Now, we don't know if they've done that pull quote because he watched the movie or was simply making a statement about sex. So, I think people should find that out.
Yeah, big shout out to Scott. Carl, you got anything else?
No, I'm simply ready to move on.
Thank you for listening.
Hey, what are we reviewing next week?
Carl, next week we're going into the, it's been too much violence. You know what we need? bit of mystery, bit of action, bit of puzzles.
A bit of adventure.
Oh shit!
A bit of cage.
Maybe a bit of action, but not that kind of action.
Not that kind of action.
Bit of action adventure. Shit, Carl, what are we doing?
We're doing National Treasure.
Holy cunt! Fuck me dead.
People need to be prepared. National Treasure is the best movie ever made.
I gotta tell
and
ya.
I will be ranking it accordingly.
Carl is goddamn obsessed. It's upsetting. I dare say I'm gonna have an unfun time tomorrow because it's gonna be just gonna be like, hey, this has got some issues, and you're like, how about you kill yourself?
Last year for Halloween, I dressed as Ben Gates. And halfway through the night, I then did a Riley reveal.
Thank you for listening.